Hello everyone, it's Kim here, and welcome to part 2 of my Besties Speed Build Challenge series. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend checking it out, but you don't need to see part 1 in order to see part 2. I have put the link for part 1 in the description just in case you want to check it out. Exactly the same as part 1, for this build I asked the besties, the channel members, for a NPC and for 2 items each, and I put all of those NPCs onto a spinning wheel and all of the items on a separate spinning wheel, and I spun for the NPC and I spun for 5 items that I would have to use in the build. Those were the main conditions that I gave myself for the speed build, and I did this on a channel members only stream that I held last week. Usually I keep what happens on those live streams just for the channel members, but I did this one with the intent of making a couple of videos out of it. Before we get into the build, make sure you like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much. Alright, first up, we spun for the NPC. I was pretty pleased with this one. I am a fan of this NPC. We got Leif. Next up came the 5 different items that we spun for. First up, there was the ranch cupboard. Secondly, we spun for the apron. Third spin was the spinning wheel. Fourth item we spun for was the stall. And fifth item was the loft bed. It says bunk bed, but it was the loft bed. Now I decided to work on the exterior first. I chose this particular vacation spot with the help of the chat, and we chose it because it already had a sort of garden going on outside of it, so it was perfect for Leif. Now surprisingly, I found it slightly hard to choose a design for the exterior of Leif's house. I knew I wanted something that looked natural, something that would look really good in a garden, but I found it harder than I thought I would. Next up, I started adjusting the gardens a little bit just to make them bigger and to make them flow a little bit better with what I was thinking. I put down some fencing that I thought looked like a more rural type of fence, something you would have on a farm, and we put down some veggies. I really wanted this to feel like somewhere where Leif was growing his plants and his crops that he would bring to Halves Island to sell to you. I put down some stones between each type of garden just so each type of vegetable was separated, and I also used a different colour dirt path going from his front door to the stairs. I then started adding different items to his garden. I added little gardening tools, like dirt, all that sort of thing that a gardener would need in their yard. Finishing up the space was a little bit challenging. I just wasn't quite sure what sort of plants to put on that mid-sized cliff, and it was a hard decision. I'm not sure why. And then I finished up with a rubbish bin and some rubbish bags at the bottom near the entrance. By the time we headed inside, I had not used a single item from the challenge, so I had made the interior extra hard for myself. But I decided to make it a sort of dark cave sort of area, which I wanted it to feel more like a basement than an actual house. I wanted a space for Leif to eat, I wanted a space for him to work on his gardening and his plants inside, and a little bedroom for him to sleep in. You'll see the ranch cupboard is one of the first items I put down. This is purely because I found this one the biggest challenge and I wanted to put it down before I forgot to use it. Using the loft bed was super easy for this. I found that quite easy to place because I thought that would really work for Leif. He would have a little desk underneath to work, and having a rug underneath that matched the rest of the house would just make it all fit together. The stool initially was a little bit of a challenge to find how to use it, but after a great suggestion from chat to turn it around, I thought it worked next to some tables and a table and chairs for him to eat at. For the indoor gardening space, I decided to use the little greenhouse plus some glowing moss jars just to lighten up this dark room a little bit. Something I also used a lot in this interior build was mushrooms. I had the mushroom lamps, I had the mush parasol in one corner, and I also just put random mushrooms all around the interior build just to make it feel more like a damp, dark room. I put the apron in his bedroom waiting for him to put it on, and with that I had used 4 of the 5 items. The last one being the spinning wheel. I was so not sure how to use the spinning wheel in the build. It was such a challenge. We added a few hanging glowing moss from the ceiling and some plants on the wall, and with that I feel it feels more complete. It feels like a dark room for him to hang out in and eat and do some plant work and gardening, and I'm really happy with it. Thanks to another genius suggestion from chat, we decided to put the spinning wheel outside. That's because there were all the fruit and veggies outside. It was a much lighter, brighter space, and we found a spot right at the front of his yard where it just slotted right in. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope this video and the part 1 video gave you a bit of inspiration with your Happy Home Paradise and exterior designs. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you again. Let me know in the comments what's your favourite part of this build, whether it was the interior, the exterior, or something else. Bye!